with the yo-ho-ho. It's the Tale of the Toaster, and welcome back to
Inazuma 11 Ares. Let's clear this up one last time. Xavier. Hunter. Let me never say this again. We're going to talk about episode 20, and it opens in probably one of my most well-remembered moments of the whole series. I love this opening. I'm just going to do it word for word.
Listen, Xavier, there's a secret special move that you need to try to improve your play.
A secret special move? And you're going to teach me?
That's a funny joke. I'll hear you out. Go ahead and say it. The secret move. The name is...
Take it to the top! Just keep moving! Yeah, we go to the entire intro song. I'm not going to put you through all of that and all of its lyrical genius. But after that, we even get a title card. So this guy comes in and says, the name of the new secret move! And then it repeats like,
I'll hear you out. Go ahead and say it. The name of the secret special move is... the pass!
It's a genuinely good moment, right? Because I didn't see it coming. Like, it seemed to be building up to something real. But man, we really went through a whole monologue, an opening song, a title card, a repeat of the same conversation before we finally get the name of the secret move, the pass. It's funny, but it's good. I don't know which one weighs in more. Like, you've got genuine, like, good writing, you've got pure humour, and it's going off the radar, but it's just one of my favourite and most remembered moments. And the episode hasn't even started yet. So let's get into that. Eagle-eyed viewers may notice that, at least for the sake of the thumbnails more than anything, I do try and rock a different costume for each episode. Here we are in the alien kit again. Does that count as a repeat costume? No, fellas, because we've actually got the friggin' football shorts on this time. I've learned my lesson from the detonator, the explosion! So we are prepared for all circumstances. Should we be, though? Anyways, Xavier's not really interested in this special move called the pass, so he just carries on midfielding up the pitch himself, and it's like, oh, Ares has been so heavy on forwards, it's nice to see someone actually midfielding, even though they are not a midfielder. He would have had great potential for this role, but he also does happen to be one of the best forwards in the series, so I guess we've got to let that one slide. And it works for a while, but eventually, you know, when you've got 11 players versus 1, it's not going to work out forever, so he does eventually get stopped. He's got to have his learning message somewhere, right? What mainly is starting to get through to him is that after a bit of the wall from Cliff, you know, we're seeing that quite a bit in this episode, actually. Sandra with a mermaid's veil is actually able to stop the explosion, the detonator this time. And then, off the back of that, we're actually going to get another Ryman goal to put them once again back in the lead. There is no point where Aelia have been winning this match, even now that Xavier's here, or Xavier as they keep saying in the episode. But yeah, and it's another really cheeky goal. We've already had so many of these in this episode, but it's once again on the end of poor old Dave Quagmire. Basil goes for a fire tornado and he's like, ha! I've stopped this one before. This will be fine. Forgetting about all the other times they've managed to trick him in this match. What they do is actually really cute. Like, well, not cute in a Garden of Roses kind of way, but it's cheeky, you know? Because Basil does the fire tornado, the wormhole actively sucks it in and succeeds in doing the catch. But this is a really good example of playing with the established formula, because I've said all the way throughout this match, this is breaking traditions of typical Inazuma 3-2, 4-3 scorelines, but what we're actually doing now is starting to mess with moves that we're familiar with, because we've all seen Wormhole. It's been around since 2010, still been one of my favourite Inazuma moves in the goalkeeping spectrum, but yeah, we all know that at the end of Wormhole, it's got to come from the top and slam the ball into the ground. What if somebody's head just happened to be in the way of where the ball was going to be? And that's what Adriano does. He pretends it's some special move, of course, but yeah, he just stands exactly where the ball is going to be landing and gently headers it in. It's like, why didn't I think of that? But surely when we're all playing the games, or at least watching the seasons back, we've all thought, so if I could just do this, maybe this would be the key to beating this move. There must be some kind of trick that we can overcome, right? And yeah, Wormhole has one. You just gotta have someone in the right place. It's like, oh well, this move's been quite thoroughly beaten then. I do love it, but yeah, it's time to retire this one, fellas. Alright, so this is finally enough to make Xavier realise, oh, maybe I should do a couple of passes. Hunter appeals to the inner child in him, and it's all still very nice. And yes, he decides to initiate his passes, and they are they are belters. Like, if he's gonna pass, he's gonna do it as a forward, and his thing is just giving unnecessarily strong passes to all of the other players. But you know, if he's got to have a change of heart, you keep the cool guy up act and all of that. Keep cool guy act up. Mr. Yi likes to comment on this as well, so saying he's gone from being the god striker thingy to a regular football player, and that regular football player Xavier is much better than whatever he was before. It's true though, but it's a weird one to point out because Mr. Yi actually doesn't really do anything in this one. Usually he's like the saving grace of Ryman and the one dictating the pace, but he's kind of taken this one off. Doesn't actively add anything into it, but that's fine. He can't do something every time, and if he's going to have a break, Ailey is kind of my favourite match in the whole thing, so yeah, let's pick that one to just make it purely about the teams. That's fine. Xavier's next big long pass goes over to Jordan Greenway, and I have to point this out legally because if I did not mention Jordan's moment in this episode, then I think I would have to cancel the series. This is my excuse to put them in the thumbnail. I held back for two of them. We did the actual important two, but now is my time to pretend that this actual match concluding episode is all about my boy. In reality, he goes for a second Astro Break and it gets stopped by Mermaid's Veil, but I mean, hey, Mermaid's Veil has really proved itself at this point. It's been beaten once by the Detonator, but it's done the trick every time since. A little bit of help from the wall, but yeah, Sandra has really upped her game. It's what I would say if the score wasn't 5-4 in Ryman's favour at the moment, and it is soon going to be 5-5. Well, we'll get to that. Because yes, only now, 3 episodes into this match and halfway through this one, do they decide, oh, it's half time. They keep doing this in this show, and sometimes I wish they just wouldn't address halftime at all, because they only bring it in just to remind you of how upset the balance is most of the time. So you mean to tell me 3 episodes were 1 half, and now we're going to squeeze the rest into like 4 or 5 minutes? Alright, but the main reason it's brought up here now is because for the second half, they tell Hunter that he needs to play in midfield for this one, and he's not going on board with it. I mean, we couldn't possibly change Hunter Foster, formerly Xavier Foster's position, right? He couldn't possibly change from forward. Yeah, he kind of actively refuses, but then the rest of the team is like, no, you should do it. So he's like, alright, I guess I will then. And he does take a step into midfield, but then the show kind of makes either an error or just a blatant lie. I mean, it's got to count as an error, right? But here's the formation screen. I don't know if it's in a corner or full screen, but yeah, this comes after they've told Hunter, spotted myself on that one, after they told him to play in midfield. They then show this image to just so, no, he's a forward, he's playing in the number 10 position. This flies directly in the face of what you were just saying, and it's not like it's just recycled from the start of the match, because Torch is off the pitch, it's got Zeke on there. This has been done on purpose for this moment, and they show Hunter standing in the middle of the pitch as a midfielder, but it's just not reflected at all in this graphic. It's like, you shouldn't have bothered putting it in here if you were going to get it so wrong. The main significance, though, of his position as a midfielder is like to show Xavier going on a solo run up the pitch with help from passes to people like Jordan once again. Then he's like, I'm getting ready to do the explosion detonator. But actually no, he does a back pass to Hunter, who scores with a Meteor Blade to make it 5-5. And it's another nice surprising moment. I should have seen it coming, really. You know, he's into this whole teamwork thingy now, but I really didn't. So that's a second goal for Hunter, even though he's still injured. Like, there's a little reminder of that while he's struggling to intercept the pass from Xavier. But yeah, 5-5. Who's going to win this one? I mean, surely there's only one answer, right? But I'd love it if Aelia just won and then the rest of the series was about them. Jordan can be my protagonist. We can continue to develop the character between Hunter and Xavier. Ryman, they've had enough. I'm down for the rest of the season to just be Aelia Academy, please. But man, to say it's a 5-5 scoreline at the moment, they are really determined right now. To give some focus on the goalkeepers. Sandra once again stops the detonator. There may have been help from the wall, but it seemed like a pretty outright save, to be honest. And also, this guy, we've not flexed this card yet, but Dave Quagmire stops a golden goal from, well, we've got it here, so Sonny. He stops it with Drill Smasher. So Wormhole is very firmly out of the picture right now. Drill Smasher I wasn't expecting to see here. Clearly Dave's been a bit of a laughingstock all the way through the match, bless him. Didn't know if he was going to get a bit of a glow-up moment. But he does it with a move that's familiar to us, but it looks completely different. And I think this is an unpopular opinion. Whenever I've spoken to people about this, I have a lot of people saying, oh, Drill Smasher looked better in the classic series when it was an actual giant drill to just sever the ball into however many pieces. But what they do here, I think, is a really, really nice way to ground the Aelia characters in reality, because they are not aliens here. That Ganymede guy in the back still looks like a bit of an alien. You can't hide him, but he doesn't really do anything in this match. Nor does Zeke, bless him. I was keeping an eye out, but this is about Dave Quagmire, and yeah, instead of just getting a massive drill above his head to just spin through the ball, instead Dave Quagmire is now the drill, and he just leaps up into the air to spin repeatedly, and it doesn't look that strong. It doesn't necessarily look stronger than Wormhole. Yeah, Golden Goal is probably not the strongest shot that it could be faced with, but I really like it, because Dave has already been such an excellent character all the way through this, someone who's not perturbed by the fact he's let 5 goals through and is still cocky and thinks he can do better. He actually brings out a goalkeeper move that you, apart from the fact you need to leap like 2 foot into the air, it feels like you could give it a go in real life. Maybe not, 20 revolutions in the air like Dave does, maybe just 1, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's a leaping punch with a bit of spinning to reinvent something that used to be one of the most over-the-top anti-Sean Frost moves in existence. And I appreciate that. I did not care for Dave Quagmire much in the original seasons. As an Alias villain, he was the most generic of the 3, I felt. I mean, Janus was pretty similarly on that level, but this guy was even more evil, and obviously when Season 3 rolls around and both Xavier and Jordan get their good guy arcs, Dave just continues to be a bit of a bad, jealous guy who still looks a bit like an alien. And then I guess he's an adult in Go for a couple minutes, but what they do with him here, they've basically given him a new personality that's based on his old one, and some new moves to boot, and I'm just enjoying it so much. He, for me, went up from a C tier character to at least a B or an A tier, and, well, this match might not be the end of him for his appearances in Inazuma as a whole, so he's only got time to grow for me. I am so glad, if anything, that I watched Ares and Orion to take this character that I didn't care for that much and really make me appreciate him a lot more. Good job. What isn't a good job is that we're going to additional time. Yep, the pacing is still keeping it up like this. We've had our first half, that was the second half, and now we're going to get more time probably in additional time than we did in the actual second half. But yeah, it's happening. For the second episode in a row, I didn't even point it out last time, but for the second episode, Elliot Ember, just watching in the crowd, gets a single line, basically just to fulfill his appearance quota. it feels like Team Rocket in Pokemon, like the first 4 seasons, they mandatorily had to appear, even if they didn't have a good purpose for it. Like, you could go onto a Bulbapedia article before an episode came out, and yes, I was still scavenging the internet in the days of Diamond and Pearl episodes being released. I say while they're now making remakes for the Switch. Way to make me feel old. But yeah, like, it was a guarantee. Jesse and James were always going to be in an episode, along with Meowth and Ash's Pikachu. You could just take that for granted. It was only when Black and White came along, and it's like, they realised, we don't always have to have Team Rocket in it. But this is kind of what they're doing with Elliot over the past 4 episodes. He's out of the tournament, so he's just appearing to have single one-off lines in each episode. Heath gets one as well. I don't think he was in the last episode necessarily, but yeah, he's there. But now, this is what the whole match has been building up to. There's been so much good storytelling going on. We've got, you know, our Hunter, who understands the value of teamwork and is the captain, a decent forward. And we've got this guy who's probably a better forward, but doesn't know how to, well, cooperate as a team. They met each other as kids, but never got to physically meet up and play football until now, where they've given themselves the opportunity. Finally, he's learned to pass. What's this building up to? It's time for one of the coolest special moves in the series. I think it counts as an override, probably, of Meteor Blade and the Detonator. But what we're going to get is called Cosmic Blaster. Now, the name is the one bad part that we have to get out of the way, because there was a move in the second game called Cosmic Blast, and it even belonged to an Alias team. Yes, I guess this is fine, because one timeline you've got Cosmic Blast, a Janus and whoever else special move, and now we've got Cosmic Blaster, which is a slightly different name. Just like Fancy Footwork and Fancy Footwork with a hyphen in it. But the main point, it's not about the name, it's definitely more based on the Detonator, but the whole point of that move is that it's Xavier's thing. He can do it as a solo shot and very, very well by passing to himself. That's what he's grown up doing. But what if we did introduce a second character into this? So by implementing all those really rough, exaggerated passes that we've built up in this episode, Hunter and Xavier, they just work together to just clout the ball at each other, build up even more energy until they can combine on what is probably one of the coolest two-person special moves in the in Inazuma 11. I love it. If only there was something better they could be yelling while doing the move. The explosion 2. Maybe not that, but yeah, it's amazing and it deserves to score. But we are in additional time, and a certain Ryman team are legally obliged to win this match. Again, much as I would prefer it if Alia could just win and be the protagonist for the rest of the season, yeah, it ends in exactly the way I wouldn't want. I've somehow found a way to mention Polar Bear number 2 in every episode of these reviews, it feels like, because I keep thinking it's over, and it never is. I really thought once Counter Drive came along it'd be done and dusted, but no, we're going to get a second match that actually ends with Polar Bear number 2 getting a goal. But it's even worse here because... So Sandra's stopping the ball with Mermaid Veil and a bit of help from Cliff. That's cool, because Sonny and Basil run back to help her with it, and it's just good enough to stop the brand new Cosmic Blaster. Yeah, for the second time in this episode, we get a very out of place, take it to the top, just keep looking forward, let's get a move on, and all of the rest of the bloody lyrics to it, and it's like, yeah, as soon as they've kicked in the music, we know this is going to be Ryman's moment, and we've got to deal with the awful English lyrics to this song as well. If only I knew someone who could make better ones for it, eh? But that's, yeah, we got what we got. I'm sure this moment would be a bit cooler in Japanese, but still very much foretold. Yeah, Sandra's going to stop this and they're going to score with an Emperor Penguin, Polar Bear number 2. And it even has to beat out poor old Drill Smash. And it's like, oh, I've really grown to love Dave Quagmire over this match. And he's got to lose to Polar Bear just like Joseph King did. It really breaks my heart, but away he goes. And yep, Ryman won with a 6-5 scoreline. What a mess. This is what happens when you have 3 episodes dedicated to one match. But yeah, so it's a bit of a sour ending, but that's just what Ares does in these matches, so I'm going to forgive it. This was probably one of my favourite matches of all time in the Inazuma 11 series, because every player here is just someone I can root for on both teams. Just the whole storytelling, the dynamic between the two Xaviers, getting some good moments from Jordan spliced in there while also teaching me to appreciate someone new like Dave Quagmire. The stuff with the passes, the brand new special moves, like fancy footwork still counts as part of this match. I'm talking about it as though it's something from the distant past, but no, that was introduced in this match. I think this is probably the best match of Ares and one of the best in the show. Like, if you ask me what are the best matches, I would say Orpheus in Season 3, maybe a Ragnarok shout from Chronostones, but probably not quite. Maybe if we were going on the games, then that would be one of the picks there instead. Eisei Academy here is an excellent shout. And I would say there's one more in Orion that can contend for the best as well, but that's a story for very much another day. That's it. Eisei did have to lose. They were magnanimous about it. Even Xavier Schiller. I would really kind of quite like one of the losing teams to have a bad reaction at this point, because everyone's taking it so well and it's a bit strange. It's like, dude, you just got knocked out of the tournament. Like, you don't have to be happy about it. But yeah, even Xavier Schiller can take this one on the chin, I guess. I feel so bad for Dave because he had to let one in at the last second. But anyway, we're over it. That was the match against Eisei Academy, and I adore it. So, what did you think of it? Do you think it was the best match of the season? Or is it something that's still upcoming? Is it something that was in the past? I'd genuinely like to pose this question to you all, because I think Eisei does stand out for covering all the bases, ticking all the boxes, and just the team itself is clearly my favourite to take part in the season. You know, Alpine is series-wide meant to be my favourite, but then their Ares version fell a little bit behind, but then Eisei Academy was everything I wanted and more. I was watching this season for those guys, and they did not disappoint. So, but that's it. I've been TaleOfTheToaster, and we will see you in another one. And so will Jude Sharp, apparently, because he makes an appearance in the final 3 seconds of the episode just to look at Elliot Ember exiting the venue and get even more of a Team Rocket quota than Elliot did. Like, Elliot at least spoke. Jude just looks at him. Looks at him, and then the episode ends. Bit of a strange one, but that's it. Toodle pip.